In problem number 8, we're told that if tangent of x is 2/3 and x is between pi and 3 pi over 2, then cosine of x should be what? Since a tangent value of 2/3 uh, is not one of our common tangents, the way that we're going to have to do this is to actually form a right triangle with some angle x and express the tangent as the ratio of the sine over the cosine, or the opposite over the hypotenuse. Opposite over the adjacent, sorry. So that would mean then that in this particular triangle, whatever triangle we're working with would have to be a similar triangle to the one that I've shown here, where the opposite side is 2 and the adjacent side is 3. So the tangent of this particular triangle would be 2/3. Now we're going to use that then to find the other side, because the cosine is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. So we still need to find the hypotenuse there. And here, if the hypotenuse is found using the Pythagorean theorem, which would be the square root of 2 squared plus 3 squared, or the square root of 13, then now we could find the cosine, which is adjacent over hypotenuse, so that would be 3 over the square root of 13. So we know that the cosine of x is going to be 3 over root 13, or that is the reference angle of the cosine of x. Now, in order to find out whether it's going to be positive or negative, we still have to look at which quadrant we're in. And since we're going to be between pi and 3 pi over 2 on the unit circle, then we are working in the third quadrant. And in the third quadrant, our adjacent angle is going to be, or adjacent side rather, is going to be negative, and so we would add a negative onto the 3 there, making our final answer to be negative 3 over the square root of 13. So it all depends on which quadrant we're in. We found the reference angle, but to find the sine of that, we have to look at which quadrant we're in. And another easy way to remember that is ASTC. In the first quadrant, all trig functions are positive. In the second quadrant, the sine and the cosecant are positive. In the third quadrant, the tangent and the cotangent functions are positive. And finally, in the fourth quadrant, the cosine and the secant functions are positive. So, since we're in the third quadrant here, only the tangent or the cotangent should be positive, which we can see from that tan x equals 2/3, it is positive. But the cosine will be negative because it is not either tangent or cotangent. So it won't be positive, it will be negative in that interval, over that interval. And we can see that we have that over there, and our final answer would be D. And notice they leave it not in rationalized form, and that's okay in this case. To leave it that way, it's not against the law to do so. Alright, so that's the end of problem number 8.